Now, I grow these moringa plants in many different ways. I like growing them in these large pots you see here, and I would also plant additional vegetables inside to ensure best use of the soil. I find that the clippings, even though they do grow with some degree of success, is rather moderate. So I prefer to, while I'm pruning these trees and cultivating them, to air layer them to ensure that we have the maximum growth and not to waste any of the roots. This tree had just been cut back probably about 2 weeks, and you already see I have it to the other stage of growth. This will promote the spreading and additional branches that will come out of this tree. But in the meantime, this means stalk here is where I'm starting the process of air laying. Let me show you some more examples. Here, with this specimen, this is being air layered, and we have the foil with the soil, and it's growing in. I'll show you a few more. If left undone, like this one here, we have the air layering, and I'm using a cup and then foil. But as you can see, this tree is monstrously tall. So to prune this, I would have to cut this about 18 inches from the base of the pot, but I would waste all of this growth. So to avoid the waste of that growth, I air layer it and create a new tree. Some of my older trees, as you can see, again, I'm competing the same processes with air layering and using the cups. I would have stripped it down, and here again. So now we have 1 tree, 2, 3 trees growing out of this one moringa plant. Same thing here. We have multiple air layer sections growing out of this plant. Multiple. So we'll be harvesting those today. You may not see clearly, it's been rainy, but this is already filled with roots, so we'll deal with that. This one I took out of the cup you see here. You notice I just cut the cup into a round section, not grip it around the tree, tape it and fill it with soil. But I wanted this to create a larger root ball because of the size of the stalk. And so I put a bigger ball using plastic and more soil, and I may harvest that one today as well. And the same goes here. I just harvest off the top of this plant, and I'm about to do the same right here. But as you can see, get more beets growing very strongly in here as well. So we're going to look at how we air propagate these moringa trees. We're going to start with this plant here, which we have air layered into 2 sections, top and bottom, to split this into 3 moringa trees. Now I'm coming closer so you can see exactly what we're doing. So you're seeing this. I use some old cloth as a base of support for the cup, so it doesn't bruise the tree. That support the way the cup is taped all the way around. And so we can pull this back to see what this tree may or may not have been doing. This one doesn't quite look as promising because I did it a bit later, and that didn't have much of effect, because you notice with this one here, I did not cut the bark away. I've had some success without cutting the bark. On me. The problem with moringa trees, and when you're air laying them, when you cut into the bark, see where my hand is, when you cut into the bark in windy conditions, the tree becomes very, very fragile and it snaps. So you have to be extremely careful when you're cutting into the bark to air layer it. So this one here I just put on because I've had some success with roots just coming out before. But this one here, because it is a thicker part of the tree, I would have air layered before. And you can see all the root growth. Some of the signs that the air layering has taken in your plant would be the fact that underneath the tree would start to spring out new sprouts, new branches, because it would already been disconnected, and that this is still being healthy. So now instead of two, I really am looking at one major plant. So being gentle and conservative not to damage the root, I'm going to cut this away. And my son Deshaun is helping me with the videoing. Say hello, Deshaun.
Hi.
And I get a good pair of pipe cutters, which is very, very good. There you go. So we have a clean cut. Now I still have an issue because my concern is, will this root system support such a large tree? Because the intent was to cut this here. So I'm going to take a gamble on it. And see what comes up. Okay. Down this way so you can see inside of it. Here. Now, initially I'm concerned about two things: the stability of the tree, rocking back and forward, and the spreading of the roots. So I'm going to put in enough soil to the bottom. I'm only going to do this about a third of the way up, so it could sit here, but I want more soil to be on top so that the tree can have the support it actually needs. I've already pre-moistened the soil a tad bit. And we're going to pack this in. Notice this is still unstable. So after I would have packed this soil down, I would be putting in supports for this tree, and I would definitely put this in a windy area that is not windy. Now I have here compost tea, and I have mixed in a little bit of root growth hormone. This is homemade compost tea. I want it rich and environment as possible, and I want to soak this soil down so the soil becomes compact. Now you want to consider structure, so I'm going to just put this here just for a bit to hold that steady. I'm going to get something. place some support for this tree. Here. Here. Now I'm going to prune this tree for a couple of reasons. For one, this is the winter months in the Bahamas, and too much leaves do one or two things. It will require too much energy from the tree right now, and it's like a sail, so it will cause the tree to be vulnerable to the wind drift. So since there are some new sprouts here, I'm going to cut some of this off to encourage the tree to not only focus on new leaves, but to bring forth new shoots for the root. So we're going to prune off some of this. Anything else? Well, we're going to prune off some of these leaves.
Evening.
Evening, brother.
You got your jack here?
Yeah, we're going to record now. One sec. We're going to prune off some of these leaves. That should take the strain of this tree. Actually, you know, I could cut this, and that's going to branch off. It looks like butchering, but that's okay. That's all a part of it. And I could probably just cut that off here. And cut it off here. I'll talk to you about pruning a moringa tree a bit later on in another segment. And this will help make the tree also a little less top heavy. Where it's growing the fruit, because they start to bloom into flowers, I want to cut that off. Flowers take a lot of energy out of the tree, so I don't want that to be distracting. And she should be fine. I'll let it settle, put it in a cool place. Do not overwater that, because what will happen is you'll have root rot. These trees are very susceptible to root rot because they would survive in hot desert conditions and all that, and they cause root rot. Now, another thing about moringa is the trees and all the parts of trees actually make for great fertilizer. Actually, plants tend to grow 2.5 times better, fruits and vegetables, with the moringa leaf. So guess what? I don't waste it. I feed it back to itself. I mixed it in with my soil. So apart from consuming the leaves and whatnot, any bad batch of leaves or anything I have, I just mix it back in with the soil, and that's not a problem. We're going to prepare to do another plant in just a minute. You can pause it yourself. We just finished cutting this moringa tree. This moringa tree is about 8 months old, and now we have 2, and with care that should survive. And what will happen is where I would have cut here, and I've trimmed the top of these ones here, this will spring out additional shoots, and we will grow a fuller, thicker tree that could yield more harvest. So when we sell our trees to persons, we can sell them a tree that can give them heavy yield that could supply a family, and it don't have to grow too tall, and it's better foliage. Now, this is our next project here, and as you can see from clippings, I have multiple clippings here, which I don't like I said. They do catch it every few, but I just put them there. They catch it, they don't. But we have 3 sections. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections to look at, and let's see how much success we have. So with the first section up here, and you notice I'm pretty confident this has roots because you can tell. When this have roots, stems grow underneath because the tree has the signal that it has been cut off at the head. Even though it's still feeding this tree, it will spring out these sprouts, and you see the stems coming out here. So that is always proof to me that this is taken. This is either taken or that is definitely dead. You can see it's not dead because the leaves are healthy, and so I am 100% certain that this cup here have fruit. Some of them I use clear cups so I can actually see the roots inside. Some of them have the darker cups, so the foam cups, so you don't see. So what I do is I split the cups, cut a little base about the size of the width of the tree, and wrap it around, tuck it in dirt. Now that's after I would have cleared the bark around it, and what they call the Cambrian layer. The Cambrian layer is the layer of flesh that's just beneath the bark. But we can get all of that in another segment. Let's take a look at this one and see how this goes. Okay, that's one. Let's rest on here. Let's take them all down one time. That's one. And I'm not 100% certain about this one, so let me go here first. Sometimes you can tell by the feel if this has taken root. I know I did this section here at a later date. I can't swear to it, but I know this one has. Let's do this one here. Okay, that's another tree. I know it's healthy. Yeah. Now, I put all of these to support the tree with the load being on it because of the high wind conditions we've been having. Now, I know this is ready because this has roots. I definitely don't want this to be too tall. So, you know, here it is again. You notice there are no leaves along this here. No sprouts. I can almost guarantee you that this probably has not rooted. Because you notice this has no sprouts, but you notice under here, come closer so you can see. You notice under here, you have new growth, new branches. And remember the rule I showed you, whenever this takes roots, new branches shoot up underneath. Because the signal to the tree is that this is really disconnected, even though it's still feeding it through the bark. So chances are very, very good that this may not have any. Chances are okay that this may have, because I'm seeing new sprouts from here, and I'm seeing one here. So there may be some sort of root in here. But there's definitely no root probably starting out here yet, or nothing to mention, because this is not showing any of the signs. I'm going to remove this because I don't want this tree to be off balance in any event, so I'll take this off. Okay, rest that here. And we can take this off. Now, this one will be a little tricky. So with this one, I'm going to open up the cup first. Right along the line. Remember, these roots are very, very fragile. So you do have to be careful. Take a look at that. Hello. Hey. No, positive. Now, you always got to be careful removing these because you notice I've lost some roots in these cups. Moringa tree have very, very fine roots. Yeah, they have a tap root system and all that, but the roots are very, very fine. And you can see this is well rooted. And again, the telltale sign of the rooting is whenever the branch above begins to spring roots, beneath you'll see new shoots. New root, new shoots. If you don't see shoots springing up, then that means somewhere along the line this tree is likely not rooting as it should. Now, don't be deceived, the roots are really starting up here and going down. So I want to harvest this, damaging the roots minimally, if I could, and starting the new tree. Okay. There we go. And you can see the tree is still supporting the main tree sprout, but the roots are generating well. Now we're going to plant this, and I will clean this up here. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this and force this to put out more branches. So I will clip this, and I always go at least 1 to 3 segments down. I find that that brings 1, 2, 3 segments down. And I'll cut that, and you know what? I'll cut all these as well. And I want to send a message to this tree to push forward. So I want this to bring out a heavier yield, and hopefully I can maybe get an additional 4 or 5 more branches coming out here, which will make that a thick tree. Now I have to be gentle and cautious with this one. Cannot put it into a small potting system. Put it into a larger. Sometimes I use garbage bags because the Bahamas is warm. You don't want too much water on these roots. These roots will rotten very, very easily. But nevertheless, it gives me better moisture control. So I can poke a little hole in the bag and control how much water stays in this pot and make life a lot more easier for me. Same thing applied. Fill this pot about a third of the way through. Because you want the tree to have support. And this will go into a bigger pot once I'm certain that this pot is filled out. Actually, I should have put this into a bigger pot because this is really heavy. but I'll support it.